When I died, I was everything everywhere all at once. I got asked if I wanted to come back, and I said yes. And I remember coming back into my body thinking, let me keep the math, because I understood the math of it. I could see how all the math and the sacred geometry worked. It's the collective consciousness actively choosing the timeline that we go into. The more people waking up right now saying, no, we're not going to do the doomsday timeline. No, we are going to create the new earth. Yes, that's when things really change.
Welcome to the Reality Revolution. Today I have a guest I've wanted to talk to for a long time. Alysa Rushton is an energy intuitive, a sound alchemist, a divine DNA activator, an ascension guide, and she has spent years helping empaths and highly sensitive people around the world step into their own power as conscious creators. Her programs Reality by Divine Design, Get Lit from Within, and the Miracles and Manifesting Portal have guided thousands of people to trust their own connection to spirit. She also carries a story that changed the entire direction of her life, and I want to hear it in her own words. Alysa, welcome to the Reality Revolution. It's Alysa.
It's Alyssa.
Alyssa,
Thanks,
welcome to the Reality
Brian.
Revolution. I'm so glad you're here. Take us back to
Oh
the
my
beginning. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, first, Brian, I'm so glad to be here with you and with this incredible audience that you have built. I mean, I actually send your videos out to my students and my clients. I do, because your work is so profound. So first, I'm so blessed to get to be here with you and your incredible community. What a blessing.
I'm honored. Thank you so much. It's so interesting how we can interact. And I've heard about you and watched you for a long time, and I'm excited to hear your story in your own words. Yeah.
Mm.
So you've been doing this for how long?
Well, since the near death experience, I started into this work in about 2012. So then, but I've been listening to you, I think since around then. Is that right? Does that sound about right?
Pretty close. I'm about
Yeah,
9 years now. So
yeah, yeah. So I've actually known your work for a really long time. So I've been in the energy working field for a while, although I was in the closet for a little bit. And I really officially came out of the closet in 2019.
right, I get that. So how many years were you in the closet?
Probably forever. I'm going to be 52 this year. So
We're the same
basically
age. Yeah.
for my whole life.
Wow. So yeah, it's an interesting process. I'd love to go to talk about that period where you want to talk about this stuff, but you're also number one, you're like, what are my friends going to think? What's the family going to think? My neighbors, like, I don't know. Like, there's that period I went through too. Like, I don't know if people are ready for the other Brian, right?
Right. It's so scary. It's one of the most scary things ever. But then I think once you pop through that portal, then you realize that actually everybody does want to see the other Brian, and everyone does want to see the other Alyssa and the other you, and that they're ready for it, and they're waiting for it. And I have this saying, because I used to work in the cell phone industry. So I sort of feel like our technology in our own body is very similar to that of cell technology. And so I liken people to a cell tower and a cell phone. And so the more we're in our broadcasts of our frequency of being our best selves, what I've seen happen is that we pop other people, we activate other people in our life. And then pretty soon, like your mom's different all of a sudden. She's not the same mom you used to have, and your dad's being different, and so your frequency, your thoughts, your feelings, and you're so great at helping people install that different thoughts and feelings processes, but it has everything to do with your reality and how your reality works. I'm a reality bender, and so I don't believe that there's just one reality, because on the other side I saw that there were billions and billions and trillions, I mean uncountable, there's no human numbers for the amount of realities that we actually have to step into.
Well, before we go into your story, what do you want to say to those people? There's someone that's listening or watching right now that's in the closet, that has skills and things to share, stories to share, and they're afraid. I meet them so many times, and that's kind of like the place where you're at is you're helping those people sort of empower them. So what do you have to say to them?
Yes. Well, first, I think about teaching your nervous system that you're safe and just telling yourself, like getting out of that old story of people are going to think this or people are going to think that, and just going into, I'm actually safer being my full self, being my divine self, than I am doing anything else. Because that's actually the truth. You are safer being your full self than anything else you could possibly do. You won't believe the amount of support and love and appreciation that will come your way when you truly allow yourself to move into that. Yes, is it scary? But once you take that leap and you just trust that when you are in your full frequency, then other people can meet you. I have clients all the time that are like, I'm so scared. And then I tell them this, I have a belief that everybody is God in a body. Like we're all a
Thank
ray
you.
of God, all one individuated aspect in a physical form. So when you show up with your fellow human with that frequency, and you just look at them and know, like, oh, here I am looking at God. How gorgeous are you? And then all of this possibilities opens up because your consciousness literally shifts the field. It's actually called a plasma field. Like we live in this big plasma field. The air that you think is nothing is plasma, and your consciousness directly impacts that plasma. And I would assert that your DNA is what's in charge of all of it. It's running the background programs that then project out. And you all know that your DNA made your body. Like your DNA tells you how tall to be and how big or small your hands are and how much or not hair you have. So your DNA does that, but the DNA goes past the body, and we can't see this yet with most cameras, but it goes into a projection field that starts to code or not code in to how your reality responds to you. So it's really fascinating once you kind of understand that, and the beliefs that you have are embedded in your DNA. And you can quickly and easily change those beliefs, and you're a master at this. In fact, I recommend your book, Reality Revolution, to all my clients, and I make them
Thank you.
listen to your audios, because once you recode the hard drive of your computer that's sitting on your DNA, then you're broadcasting something different, and that broadcast manipulates the field of reality. And then the people don't act weird when you start being your full self. They're like, ooh, tell me more, let me lean in. Ooh, would you want to do a discussion group on that? I've seen all sorts of cool things start to happen. Oh, would you like to facilitate a sound bath? It just is what happens when we start to be our true self.
I wanted to give everybody a little idea of your story, but I didn't include it in the intro. I wanted to give that to you. So, everybody has this, when I talk to them, this one moment when it sort of changes. And of course, it's an accumulation of moments, but I'd love for you to share your story where everything sort of changed for you on this path.
Yeah. Well, so I'll give it some context. So I was working in corporate America as a corporate trainer for a big cell company. And I loved that job. And I wanted to get promoted. And so I kept getting promotions and promotions into the gray cubicle of death. And
I have been there, yes. The great
yes, right?
cubicle of death, yes.
You might be listening to it right now in the gray cubicle of death of your
Yes.
own. You guys might be. And so I was right there in the gray cubicle, and I was working away. I was pounding the caffeine. I wasn't listening to my body. I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. And
I would never have guessed that you were also a smoker too at
yep,
some
and
point.
I was, yeah, I know. It's crazy because it's not in my energy field anymore. You
Not at
just don't
all.
know.
No.
No, I cleared it. I was a drinker.
Mhm.
And I wasn't an alcoholic. I just drank a nice bottle of Cabernet every day. And
Yeah.
I just was grinding, staying up till 3 and 4 in the morning, getting back up, going to work. And years before that, at the same corporation, I had actually been kidnapped. Yeah, by a boss, and my life was threatened. He ended up going to jail. I know. And how I dealt with that trauma of having my life threatened and all of the things was to just dive into work and dive into addiction. And addiction does run in my family, so it was a natural program. I just leaned in. I didn't know anything different,
Yeah, me too.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just went and went until my body was like, "Oh, girl, we're not doing this anymore." And so I got really sick. And I
Hmm.
was getting symptoms, but I got super sick. And I had to leave work. I took a leave of absence. And the doctor I found to help me after all of these doctors, and they put me on all these medications and all these diagnoses, MS, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, all the things.
Hmm.
The doctor I ended up seeing was like, I know what is going to help you, and you do have all those things, plus you have Lyme disease. And so she put me on sort of a chemotherapy with a PICC line. And by this time, I'm on 28 medications.
No.
I'm on end of life pain management. I'm talking fentanyl suckers, fentanyl patch,
Mm.
morphine sulfate, just a humongous cocktail that could kill most people. But I'm a really overachiever, so I'm pretty strong on that stuff. And so I did that. I left my corporate job in 2004. And in 2005 is when I had my death experience where I did die. I took too much medication one day, and I was married at the time. My ex-husband would tell you that I rode the line between life and death many days. It wasn't just like kind of like a one event, it was a riding the line. And so I died on the toilet like Elvis. And when I died, I woke up on the other side, well past the point of seeing my body. I skipped that process. I think because of the drugs. I didn't go through that like hovering and looking down on myself. I just was directly like, oh my gosh, I don't have a body anymore. And then as I moved up, I realized I was everything. I was everything everywhere all at once, and I got to explore the universe, and I got to download a lot of healing modalities and understand how we're actually programmed in more of like a holographic field here, and how our internal body carries all the programs from this life, our epigenetic parents, grandparents, etc., and our multidimensional soul. So that's something that I teach now in the Divine Light Energy Healers Academy, because one of the reasons why healing doesn't work for people is because they're just trying to work on this body in this now time. But your soul is streaming through all these different parts of your soul, and you're having many vast different experiences. And there's only just a tiny little percent of our consciousness that's maintained in this physical vehicle. And so I got to see all that. It was pretty mind blowing and understand it. I know. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you remembered
So
most of it when you came back?
yeah,
That's the
I
thing
I
is when you have those experiences, it's hard to remember and hold on to, right?
well, for me, I remember when I was coming back, because I did go into this other place, the etheric realm. Basically, I was going to go be a ghost, I think. And then I got asked if I wanted to come back. And I said yes. And so when I said yes, that's when they were pumping the Narcan into my body in the bathroom. And I remember coming back into my body thinking, let me keep the math, because I understood the math of it. And like I could see how all the math and the sacred geometry worked, and I didn't keep the math. But I really wanted
Yeah.
to. And that was my thought coming back in, was let me keep the math.
Wow. So, how did you, from that point, kind of recover from all of the prescription medication, which is a road that you have to go through, right? And so, did this help you to sort of recover from it? And what happened? How did that work?
Great question. When I woke up, the second time, they revived me in the bathroom. And then, they took me to the ambulance where they had to administer a second shot of Narcan, which can kill you. And it actually did. Again, I flatlined again in the ambulance. And I know. And so I'm an overachiever. True. And so when I woke up in the hospital, my legs were flailing. Now, mind you, I'm 240 pounds
Hmm.
at this point and used a walker to get around, wore diapers. I was
Wow.
basically at the end of my life. And so I realized in that moment, my life is horribly broken. And what I'm doing to fix my life isn't working. And so I just knew that. Plus, I had that injection of plugging back into my true source and my soul that I obviously really needed. I don't recommend you go drive it all the way down to the bottom, by the way. Like, you don't have to drive your car all the way and crash it. You can stop it beforehand. I just didn't take any of those moments. So, because we get multiple chances to not have to meet up with that hard path, but I wasn't listening. And so I then, Brian, had to do the work. It was about 5 years worth of daily work of healing trauma and paring back my meds bit by bit, going through massive withdrawal symptoms. I mean, these are end of life pain drugs that they don't expect you to get off of
Right. That's
because,
what's such an accomplishment. Sometimes it takes a whole year for a single medication to get off of it, right?
yes,
Super tiny adjustments.
yes,
Right.
super tiny. And especially with that fentanyl and all the different, the meds, it was just such a cocktail, 28. And so I just did it really slow and I did it by myself. I didn't, because the doctor at the time I had, the very next day after my near death experience, I was right back in the hospital infusing on the IV. They're pumping me full of drugs. That doctor got convicted. She had killed 3 people that year because she was pretty aggressive. So, but I also take responsibility for choosing her, right? I chose that. I chose into that experience. So, yeah, it just took me some time. And when I came back, there was this man's voice in my head. And I know now who that man was. His name was Emile Couyer. And he's the father I know. Yes. And
Oh,
his
Emile
voice
Couyer.
was in my head. I'm getting better and better every day in every way. And his
Yes.
was just chanting in my head that next day. And I was like, oh God, I've officially gone crazy. Like, I've now got a man's voice in my head. But it was Emil. And I didn't know that until years later when I actually heard an old audio of him. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my God, that's Emile Couyer.
I didn't
Yeah.
know they had audios of him. He's a long time ago, right? So it was just right at the beginning of audio,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Right at
Yeah.
the beginning, like early stage.
Yeah.
So it was just incredible. And so, yeah, so that I had all of these universal forces helping me. And I think that that was really important. Plus, I made a commitment to myself. And my commitment was nothing feels as good as being healthy. There's nothing that feels as good as being healthy. No amount of chocolate, no amount of green tea, no amount of drugs, no amount of cigarettes, no amount of alcohol. There's nothing that feels as good as being healthy. And I also realized in this process that my connection to source energy, the universe, was the most important thing that we have. And there's no amount of medication or any addiction that's going to help you when you come back to your source. It's like you have access to all things. You have access to miracles. You have access to true magic. You can create anything you want. And I really do believe one of the reasons why I came back is to show people that, like, I went from 240 pounds, basically bedridden, in a walker, every autoimmune disease you can imagine. And I still struggle with some stuff. Like, that's the thing. When COVID came out, I got it and it really kind of put me back in the spin cycle. And in fact, I've just recently come out of a really bad flare because of all the stress, and I
So
wasn't
you got long COVID then?
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
People don't understand how crazy that is. Yeah, I have
It's
friends that have suffered from that.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
thing, and it happens. I think it happens a lot to people with underlying autoimmune and viruses anyways. It's very opportunistic. But what I realize, there's a Kabbalistic teaching that says, let me find the gift in this. And recently, with this health challenge that I've been going through, it's like, well, where's the gift? Well, I get to get even healthier. And I get to look at the parts of my life that I was overlooking a little bit. And I had gone on autopilot in certain ways. And I was having too much chocolate because I still do have those addictive tendencies.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though I eat super healthy, super clean, like too much of good dark chocolate is still too much.
Well, I mean, my belief is as an addictive person in general, there you never eliminate that predilection for addiction. I mean, I'm just addicted to doing videos like this. I'm
Right.
addicted to doing my channel. You just have to transfer the addiction. Your addiction is this, right? I mean, you transferred it, and it's also a superpower. There's
Yes.
a superpower in it, right? We have an advantage from that addiction. It just depends on what you choose to be addicted to, right?
Exactly. And I'm so of that same mind. And I do believe also, Brian, I talk about this a lot, that our greatest downfalls are our greatest superpowers.
So
Like
true.
the worst things that happened to me in my life were the rocket fuel I needed to get out of victim mode and to get out of disempowerment and to take responsibility for what I was creating in my life. And people are like, well, how can you say that? Like you're victim shaming. And guess what? I'm a kidnapping survivor. I created that. I was a co-creational aspect of that. I was making choices that were in alignment with having that experience. And I was broadcasting this signal that said, let me be more of a victim.
Right,
And
right.
then we keep attracting that, and people wonder, like, why do the same people keep showing up in my life again and again and again and again? And it's because we have, what I saw on the other side is we have these embedded codes that live in our DNA. And it's not until we actually take that program out and, to your point, we replace it with something new, then that's when we can start attracting different people and having different experiences. And now, oh my gosh, in my life, like I had to park, I was going to the spa yesterday and I had to park out really in a far place because they had the parking lot closed. And this golf cart shows up by my car and he's like, would you like a ride? And a bunch of other people pulled in. But here's the guy right there for me saying, would you like a ride? And I'm kind of getting over this health thing now. And so I was just like, oh my God, angels, this is amazing. So the support that you can have when you take the time to reprogram yourself is truly incredible.
Yeah. I'd like to go deeper into your experience. You claim to have witnessed timelines, entire civilizations. What did you learn about the nature of time and just reality from your experience?
I'm so glad you asked me this question. Okay. So, how I saw it was
Mm.
that time is definitely not linear. It's all happening all at once. It's like if you took one of those books off the shelf behind you, all the pages are already written. When you're on page 5, you don't have to wait till page 100 to be written to happen. It's already there. So with timelines, I love that you have the library there. If you don't like the timeline that you're on, maybe in the book that you're in, you could jump to page 100 of that book and
Right.
really catapult yourself. But let's say you don't even like the book that you're reading of your life. Like the book of your life right now sucks. Trust me, I've been there.
Yep.
Then what you can do is you can select a whole nother version of yourself off the library shelf, so to speak, because all of those possibilities are there. They're already created. And there's possibilities from the worst possible outcomes to the most incredible, blow your mind, magic, and miracles outcomes that are available. And what I understand now is that it's mostly about your conscious selection of them, and then finding and sussing out the programming that you still have that's maybe keeping you from that, or keeping certain things perpetuating. So if you can think about your life, there's so many billions of versions of you. That's what I saw. I also, this is where it gets very complex, and ask me questions if you have them. With respect to our planetary timeline that we're having right now, there's a lot of predictions about what's going to happen. And what I really believe to my core is that it's your individual consciousness, but also the collective consciousness that is actively choosing the timeline that we go into. So the more and more people that are waking up right now and saying, no, we're not going to do the doomsday timeline. No, we are going to create the new earth. Yes, we are going to do everything differently. That's when things really change.
I love that. So what did you get a perspective of what's on the horizon for us? Or do you as you continuously connect to source, tell me about what you're seeing, what kind of shifts we're seeing in the future.
Okay. So there's some really not awesome ones that I see. And it's the similar thing when I do this work with clients. I have them do this thing where I say, take out your left hand, and I want you to imagine the worst possible case scenario. And it's a real possibility. And then we're going to take your right hand and imagine the best possible case scenario. So both are present, and all of these individuations in between. So for humanity, there are a lot of gnarly worst case scenarios right now that are active. How I feel about this personally right now, this might change, but right now what I understand is that you will experience a timeline that may be different than the rest of people. Like, you could have a group of friends that experiences one really hard timeline, and you could just be in a whole nother different area and not encounter that timeline at all. You would be in your awareness. You would understand that happened, but you would escape all the gnarly stuff. And maybe you're over here creating new earth, and you're making earth ships, and you're learning how to make things sustainable. Or maybe you're starting up some kind of a new company with new products, because we don't buy the same old products that we do. Does that make sense? So it's like, there's the worst and the best right now available to humanity. And all of the predictions that are out there, which is why I'm trying to avoid the prediction, our attention, as you well know, feeds into and directly activates the next screen of reality. So, if you're out there doom scrolling, I'm not saying you, but the listeners, like, it's easy to get caught up in that doom scrolling and what's going to happen in the predictions. And there's so many predictions, but I do this with clients all the time. Can I give you an example of this? And
Please do.
so
Yeah.
I can really let it land. I had a client who came to me. She was in serious jeopardy of losing her house. And I could see that. I was like, oh, girl, you might lose your house. Like, oh, it's real. It's real. And she was like, I don't want that to happen. I said, okay, great. Let's put that in the left hand. And then I said, what do you want instead? And she said, well, I would like to manifest being able to remodel my house and remodel the upstairs and have it kind of be a retreat center. I said, great. That's also in your field. So let's put all the energy into that, the manifesting the house. And so we did a couple processes, and she just kept her attention on that completely. And wouldn't you know it, in about 2 months' time, she and her husband received a check for several $100,000. Obviously didn't have to, leave the house or lose the house or anything. They got to keep their beautiful place and remodel it and do, just be fulfilled and satisfied and overflowing. And so, with that said, each of us is contributing to a column of thought, a column of collective consciousness. And so your conscious attention matters, but so does the people around you. And that's the rub, right? Because we have a lot of people right now tuning into kind of the worst of the worst. So then it becomes a situation of how can I radiate a stronger signal of wholeness, of sovereignty, of new earth, of new frequency, of we are divine in physical form. How do I make that stronger in the field? Just kind of like a cell tower back in the day, we would
Mhm.
crank up the dial on that frequency to try to blast the area because there was a lot of interference with trees or concrete buildings. And you can crank up the dial and you can penetrate further. Okay. So
Right,
you
right.
can do the same thing on your body when you just tap in and say, use me as a channel for divine source energy. Use me today as a conduit for magic and miracles. Use me, universe, for a conduit of love and blessings. And you just ask to have your signal strengthened, and you are just going to really be able to penetrate the signal even further, and you'll start to watch people change. And I really believe that that's what the second coming is. The second coming, right? It's you waking up to the fact that you are God consciousness, universal consciousness, whatever you want to call it, Jehovah consciousness, Allah consciousness. Guess what? Up there, they don't care. They don't have words up there.
No.
It's not a thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's the real epiphany that you have clarified that I am also a big believer in is it does not matter what is happening in the world. It's easy to look on your phone, watch the news, and think it's doom right now. There's no hope. But we're all in our own reality. And I've been in situations where everything around me is supposed to be falling apart, but I'm in paradise. And then the colors, the sounds, the vibrations, everything that comes into my sphere is amazing. And literally down the street, it could be horrible. And that's what people, whatever you're seeing, ignore it. It doesn't matter. That's the thing that people need to understand. Do not worry about what's happening in the world. You are in your own bubble of reality and you are still creating it, right?
Yes. Yes. And I love that you are talking about the bubble of reality. That's what I talk about too. You're in your own reality bubble, and your
Mm-hmm.
reality bubble can mesh and impact other people's reality
Impact.
bubble. Yeah.
Yes.
And you have to make a conscious choice. How
Right.
strong of a signal am I going to have? Am I going to let other people's reality bubble impact mine? Or am I going to hold a field so strong? I'm going to walk into a room. I'm going to
Yes.
watch the field change around me.
And if enough people on the planet we reach a threshold where enough people are holding the frequency so that throughout the world we're all changing it together. That's when the collective becomes a new earth. It's one person at a time. It's people like you that are teaching this. That's what my vision is. It's just one person at a time that we can wake up, that we can activate, that can open up their frequency over time, enough of us. And I don't think it needs to be 50%. I think it can be like 25% start to really adjust the overall frequency, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So well said, Brian. So well said. It's so spot on. That's it. Like you and I are just, and that's really the key. And I think what happens with people, it happens to me sometimes. It's so
Of course.
easy to take the movie so seriously, the movie of your life. You get caught up in it, you're the main character, and it's so easy to fall into that. And the truth is that we can command the field. I was recently on a plane, I was coming here, I just got a new house here in Arizona, and I had a health emergency on the plane.
In Phoenix? Where you
Yeah.
at? Tucson?
Yeah, Scottsdale.
Phoenix. I love Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love it here. And so I was so excited. I'm getting ready to like get all the things for my new house. I'm going to come into town, hit the ground running. And on the plane, I had a massive health crisis over the Pacific Ocean. And the stewardesses were great. And they said, I want to let you know, we can't make an emergency landing right now because we're in the middle of the ocean. And I thought I might be dying on the plane. I was like, oh God, this might be it. I might be ascending. But what I did was I used the power of my consciousness. And I was like, okay, this is, I'm choosing to stay here, universe. I am choosing to be here now. I am choosing to release the past me over the Pacific Ocean. And I'm choosing to come into a whole new reality. And I'm choosing health. I'm choosing vitality. And, sometimes we forget the power of our consciousness. And our consciousness really is everything. I mean, without your consciousness, your body is just a meat sack. It does nothing without your consciousness, right? We've seen that with people with brain injuries that are comatose, but that your consciousness is what drives the vehicle. It's what makes the vehicle go. So yeah, I just think there's so much, we have to put so much emphasis right now on really being the best version of you possible.
Now, you receive downloads about how sound and sacred geometry shape our world. So break that open for us. How does frequency build reality?
Okay. So this is kind of a big concept, but let me try to make it simple. Okay. So when you are dealing with plasma, you've got to do something to give it structure. So the study of cymatics, Cymatics, you can Google this or YouTube this, even better. You can look up and see how sound frequency basically will structure matter. So we are in this plasmic field, and sound and light is coming through. We are in this beautiful spectrum of light frequency. We can see that visible rainbow spectrum, but there's so many other light spectrums. So what happens is that the sound comes in and starts to create sacred geometry, and that starts to form things, and it forms our bodies and it informs our DNA. And so one of the things that's difficult for people is that we have so much distortion of sound frequency in our fields all the time. And the biggest sound distortion that messes us up is our own voice. Because our voice, I know, can be the most healing tool imaginable, or it can also be the tool that just absolutely crushes you. And sound will literally go in, and a technique that I teach called Divine DNA Repatterning, we use sound very intentionally to reprogram the body's computer, the DNA, so that we take out those old programmed codes that are really messing with you, and we put in new codes. But all of that's done vis-a-vis your voice, because your voice is that sound frequency. There's a Bible verse, and it's like the first thing was sound, right? It was the vibration. And what sound really is, it's a vibration. That's all sound is. It's just, movement of frequency. And so we've got to learn to actually, especially with ourselves first, work with our own sound frequency. What are we saying to ourselves? What are we saying to other people? Are we always talking about what's going on in the world and complaining about things? Guess what? You're programming the body for those complaints.
Mm-hmm. What are some ways that we can use our voice to create change within us?
Well, can I teach this little technique really quick?
Anything you want. We love it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is a technique. It's called Divine DNA Repatterning. And there's a little trick to your body that no one teaches you, but I'm going to teach you right now, okay? To program the body, you need sound, you need touch, and you need to take out the code that's bad, or the virus or the malware, and you need to input a new code or a new program. So what I love to do is think about something in your life that maybe has been bogging you down. Maybe it's something that hasn't been going well. Let's take a health, for example, or relationships. So what we would first do is we would find the place in our body when we think about that problem that we feel the most sensation. So it might be your solar plexus, or maybe it's your heart. Doesn't matter where you start. Okay, and these are called energy centers. And so we just take our ring finger and our middle finger, because we want to be gentle, and we would just tap on that area. And the tapping lets the body know, hey, we're talking to you. Hi there. And we're going to use our intention. And so we're going to say a delete statement. And every good computer coder knows you got to delete and then you're going to install. So here we go. We're going to delete. And we might say something like, I now release any and all places and spaces in my physical and my energetic body, in my cells, soul, and DNA, and across my multidimensional field. So we start there. We're working across the multi-dimensions where I accidentally got programmed to be unhealthy, to have addictions. I release this now with compassion and love across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And then we're going to program in. We're going to go, I now command that it's safe for me to thrive, to have wholeness, to be truly healthy beyond my wildest imagination. It's safe for me now. It's finally safe for me now. And that little technique goes into the very heart of your DNA, pulls out those old strands and plugs in a new code. Now, what I recommend in the Divine DNA Repatterning program is that you do it through all the energy centers. And sometimes we have to keep doing it, we have to keep teaching the body that it is safe to run a new program, that it is safe to become somebody different, that it is safe to have a different experience in life. And so it's a great technique that you can utilize when you are struggling with something, or maybe you're having anxiety, or maybe your life's just not where you want to be. It's a wonderful reprogramming tool, and it's really effective. I've had people from all over the world use this and get certified in this technique as well. And I always get the most amazing letters. You know the ones, Brian. You get these letters all the time. But
So exciting, right?
It's so exciting to see what's possible when you know how to program and work with the technology in your body, because your body is actually the most advanced technology we have on the planet. Your body.
So you healed an autoimmune disease after you came back.
Several of them.
Which is amazing. Walk us through how you rebuilt your body from the inside out.
Do we have 3 months?
Give us the cliff notes. Yeah.
I'll give you the cliff notes. So, number one thing that I did is I cleaned up my diet. I did not know how to feed myself. I was living off of food that I now call poison. So, any food that's in a package is I label it as poison unless it's a single ingredient. And I really eat clean. I drink a lot of green juice and smoothies. I still do have animal protein. That doesn't work for some people. Some people it does. And I think really it's about listening to the type of vehicle you have. Okay? Because here's the thing, that it's just like saying, well, I drive a Mercedes, but I'm only going to put unleaded in it. No, you need to put super in that car, or else it's going to start knocking. Right? So there's some cars that you can't put regular unleaded gas in. So certain people's bodies need certain things at different times as well. There's times where I'll go through periods without any meat because my body has taught me how to listen to her, and I have learned to do that. So I learned to listen to my body. I had to clear out, Brian, all the distortion, all of the addictions and gunk. And I literally had to program myself with nothing tastes as good as healthy feels. Nothing. And so I had to change my concept of myself as somebody who would be completely in alignment with eating healthy, where you're never going to see me going through a McDonald's drive-through unless it's for like a sick loved one who's like, please, it's my dying wish to have McDonald's. And then yes, I'm fine. But I'm just one of those people that I had to form that new self-concept. I learned breath work. And on the other side, they showed me how important breath and the voice is. So toning and breathing and oxygen. And what else did I do? I did, honestly, it was such a long journey. I did everything. I did monkey healing. I don't recommend monkey healing.
Mhm.
Where a monkey screams at you for, no, it's not a monkey, it's a person. They scream at you like a monkey for 90 minutes. But the thing of it is, the thing that really helped me heal the most, if I had to say one thing, would be aligning my concept of myself as a healthy person. And I would lay in bed when that's all I could do. I really couldn't walk. And I would just see myself walking as a healthy person. That's all I would do, is just visualize myself walking as a healthy person. And pretty soon that just formed into my concept of self. And I started to use my walker and go outside for little mini walks down the driveway. And then I would increase by one house and one more house. So it was a slow process, and I've done this with paraplegics who get into a motorcycle accident or some bad accident where they lose the use of their legs. It's a slow process, but you can get it back. Things take time in the 3D sometimes to heal, but your body is truly designed to heal. Your body wants to do it. I also, with the autoimmune diseases, I also learned that what underlies autoimmune diseases is viruses. Your body doesn't actually attack itself. It will not.
It will
What
not.
it's doing is it's attacking embedded viruses in your body. And there's no test for tissue viruses. We just don't have the kind of testing, and there's no testing for half the viruses that are out there. So once you kind of learn what the antiviral herbs are, I put myself on a huge antiviral herb protocol, and I still do have some struggles from time to time. Like if I ate like a normal person, I think one McDonald's hamburger would kill me.
Really? Yeah.
I I do. So, yeah, so I do have to keep a very healthy, clean diet, but I say have to, I'm blessed too. It's a blessing to keep that stuff.
See, I take a lot of vitamins. Sometimes I'm like, this is a lot, but it feels natural and normal. It hasn't been a problem. Can you take too many vitamins?
I think you can. I take a lot of supplements too.
Hmm.
I go with it. But because of that addictive tendency, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
ooh, can I get some more supplements? Can I get some more of this?
Hmm.
So I try to keep an eye on that because it can creep up pretty fast for me because I'm like, oh, this pill will solve it. When really what I try to now do is go outside, be grounded, connecting with source energy, and I have this practice that I do to download vitality. So the universe is like a big computer and it'll just download you the codes that you want. So I'll just say, universe, download to me the vitality that I need today. I didn't sleep very well last night. So universe, just download to me the ease and the peace that is available. And then you just sit and you allow that frequency to come into your body and into your cells. You can ask the energy to come in and kind of bring in youthfulness codes. People are always shocked when I tell them I'm 52, or I'm going to be 52 this year. There was one podcast that I was on, there was a fight broke out in the comments.
There's no way.
They did. They accused me of being so like a ridiculous age of 29. I'm like, no, not even. I don't see that at all. But you can just run these codes and these frequencies into your body. And actually, now we have devices where they'll run the frequency of the supplements so that you don't have to take so much. But yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I do a fair amount of things that work for my body, but I always ask. I tune in and I'm like, okay, do I need to take this today? How is my body? I've really learned to dialogue with this divine vessel so that I don't just kind of unconsciously override her so much.
I think when we're creating reality, we bring things to us. Hey, I need to work on this vitamin B12. Sometimes it's like it brings it. Um, One of your flagship work is Reality by Divine Design. So how is divine design different from ordinary manifesting? When most manifesting teaching begins with the mind. So Yours begins somewhere else. Talk about that with.
Question. So, and then also we have a certification where we teach the energy
Hmm.
healing in our Divine Light Energy Healers Academy. But divine design is different than manifesting because when you are aligned with your divine self,
Hmm.
you will do life so differently than if you're just aligned with your ego self or with your body self. And what I teach in the Divine Light Energy Healers Academy is that we've got these different bodies, and body consciousness can tend to be the lowest consciousness. Most people are operating from body consciousness all the time. That's why we have addictions. That's why we have murder. That's why we have fights, because people are listening to what the body wants to do. So then we move up to the mental consciousness, and then we have the emotional consciousness, and then we have our spiritual consciousness. So divine design, reality by divine design, is about working with the reality codes and frequencies from a divine place and what the highest expression of your soul wants for you versus what your ego might want for you or what your body might want for you. And when you're working at the level of your divine self, your ego is going to be fully satisfied. Your body is going to be full. You're going to have your best body ever. You're going to be having all the things. You won't want them, but they'll just come to you. It'll just be easy. It's like, oh, yeah, I got, this $1 million check. Okay, thanks, whatever. It won't be a big, it won't be a big deal. It'll just come to you because you're in your divine flow and you're acting in a life that's in service and a life that it is meaningful. What I can tell you is that on the other side, you keep nothing but your consciousness.
Hmm.
And where you go is not one place or the down place. There are so many different dimensions and destinations. And when you pass out of this body, where you go is dependent upon the consciousness that you held in the body. And that's the most unfortunate thing I think nobody teaches in Western America, at least, because we're people are dying left and right, and nobody's talking about like how to hone your consciousness so that you have your next experience is a better one, not just the same samsaric repetition
Hmm.
cycle of the old learning lessons that you didn't pass this time around.
Hmm. Yeah, when I tune into that, I see little clouds. Like attracts like. Consciousness. This little group of people are all connected together in their own little afterlife, and this one over here, and it's infinite numbers of these little pocket dimensions of consciousness being attracted to each other, right?
You nailed it. Exactly. Exactly. And so when your consciousness passes out of this body, you're going to go and be with the consciousnesses that you liked when you were in this body, like it or not. That's where you go. Or if you do get, like me, a shocking death, you go to kind of an etheric space for a bit to kind of collect yourself. And then you get to make another go round, but you don't get to, the universe is very smart. It's not going to let, you know, a high vibrational being to go into some realm unless they particularly choose it, that's not positive for them. So yeah, it's such a fascinating process on the other side. So you don't get to take the cars, you don't get to take the money. And so if we're here and we know that, and we know that this is a temporary experience, then wouldn't it be amazing to focus on living from our heart and living from our fully open divinity, our fully open universal consciousness. It's just, if you just knew that much, that nothing else really matters, the life starts to take care of itself when you live from that place too. Yeah, I'm not saying don't plan. Of course, I still plan. I still have launches. I have an academy that I run twice a year. I do these events that I have to figure out travel plans. I'm not saying don't plan, but live in the present moment, live from the heart, live from this place of walking around. Go to Walmart and just see everybody as a divine being of light. Don't buy
It's so
anything at
true.
Walmart, but just go see them as a divine being of light.
I have an odd observation. Like I'm meeting people all the time that have had near-death experiences or have died and come back. it's odd that I'm meeting so many people because I've had near-death experience. And so what I am sometimes it's continuously being shown that in that etheric, maybe you're not ready to understand that you've died. You go through and live an entire life just thinking you're still alive as vividly as we are now. And often I think I'm in this other etheric realm right now because it's too good to be true. Everything's so dreamlike that I feel like maybe I did die. Do you have that thought
All the
sometimes?
time, Brian.
Okay,
All
thank
the
you.
time. All the time I have that thought. It's like, God, did I accidentally not come back? Yeah.
And we're just not ready to fully grasp this.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
we'll let you live a whole life. Why not? I mean, if we're
Yeah.
in the infinite, it's very easy for us to live
Yeah.
out that whole life, right? Maybe
Yes.
it's a group of us that all sort of seemingly are existing together, but we actually
It's like Lost. Did you ever see
right.
Lost?
Oh, of
Yeah.
course, it's exactly like Lost.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like From, it's more like
Yeah.
Lost.
It's more like Lost. It's like Lost. No, I agree. But what I really feel is because we're so fractionated with our consciousnesses and how many different lives you're running, I think as your consciousness raises like yours is, I think that experience is really common to understand that this reality isn't all that real. And that's what I really feel when I have that feeling. I'm like, God, this is not very real because it isn't. It's a holographic field. It's a plasma holographic field that we're programming all the time. And so I think once you raise your consciousness to a certain level and you're in contact with certain aspects of your soul, your monad and on up, I think that makes a lot of sense that you'd feel that way. And I imagine a couple people here listening would feel that way too. Yeah.
So Sophia from my group has a question. She says, "How can we take back our power?"
Oh, I love this question, Sophia. The first thing that comes to mind for me is taking responsibility for everything in your life. When you can kind of look around at your life and be like, okay, I, you know, I don't like these aspects. I do like these aspects. And it's me. I am creating it. That starts to take the power back. But also, there's an energetic tip that I would share that when you are connecting, making sure that you're starting your day connected, because it's easy to start your day on autopilot. And so you will be able to take more of your power back when you are fully connected up into your soul and fully grounded down into the planet. And so you can do that very intentionally by just asking your energy field to ground down into the planet. And I like to ground down into new earth frequency. So it's a little bit higher. And then I like to open my channels and just say, I'm connecting up into my soul and into divine light. I like to do a couple command statements like I now command that I'm in the frequency of sovereignty, love, peace, health, overflowing abundance. And once you start to command that field around you, then you're able to take your power back. Knowing that you're a divine creator kind of forces you to take your power back. Because if you don't like something, you have to take a look and ask, how am I accidentally creating this? And what I teach is, what program am I accidentally running that's creating this? And that takes a little bit out of like the personal attack. And it's just like, well, what program would somebody have to be running in order to encounter this situation again and again? And so it's very easy then to find the programs. And then I just recommend doing a little divine DNA repatterning.
Let me see. One of your students said that you helped her meet her higher self. And so tell me your perspective of the higher self, and you've facilitated connections with the higher self. What do you think the higher self is?
Well, I like to do this every day, all the time, facilitate connections with the higher self and the soul. So, in my perspective, the higher self, you could call it also the soul, is a stepped down version aspect of you that has connections to other soul in like a monadic group or, in this like bigger ball of light. Because if you look at how the sunshine is, like when you look at the sun, It's so massive, it's so bright. And then if you start to fractionate it, all these individual little rays come out. So your soul can just hold more perspective, more awareness than your brain can. Like your soul doesn't geolocate in space and time. Your soul's up in the fourth and fifth dimensions. So it can see well into the future of all your future different possibilities. And it can see also in your past and all your past different possibilities as well. So when I'm helping someone meet up with their higher self, the reason why I'm doing that is to give them perspectives that are outside third dimensional time and space so that we can see the field. Like I have a lot of and not trying to brag, but just saying like I have a lot of like high-end company executive CEOs that hire me to do this for them so we can see like from the soul's perspective, what's the highest pathway? What's the way forward? What from your soul level? Because it's like saying an ant walking across a piece of paper can only see so much. And then you looking across the room, you can see amazing amounts. And then if you flew up in an airplane, you'd be able to see, wow, how far things go. It's kind of like that with your soul. Your soul can see all the possibilities, all the multidimensionality, and your soul can also help you do something really cool, which is shift energy. So when I see timelines for people, oftentimes the worst timeline will have the most energy towards it. Like it'll be like 70%, you're 70% headed to your worst timeline. And we don't want that. So then your soul can help you shift that energy over to a positive timeline, because here's the real deal. On the other side, what I saw was that your consciousness is a feedback loop. It's a loop, okay? It's a loop. So whatever you experience, consciousness, God, the universe, Allah, whatever, is also experiencing. So wouldn't you want consciousness to experience the lovely experiences? Wouldn't you want to feed that back into the system of the all? And I think that's what we're here to shift and clear and to transcend, is having to go through this amount of suffering and treating human beings, not living from the heart. Because when you live from the heart, you make totally different decisions. You don't make Coca-Cola when you're living from the heart. You don't have a company that makes legal addictive substances that kill the body. You just don't have that anymore. So yeah, so all that to say, I love facilitating conversations with the higher self and up. Like some clients, we go up well past the soul. We go up into monad level. We go up and pull down their ascended master lives because they're ready for like this massive activation. And I really do feel like I come across so many people that are just like ready to pop and pull and harness in all of their multidimensionality, their Pleiadian selves, their Arcturian selves, their, all the best parts of yourself across all of your lifetimes. Imagine having access to all of that all at once. So that's the work.
How do you see the when the new Earth plays out and it's finally here?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Okay. All right. So this is a trick question.
Yes.
Because the new Earth happens as and through you. So for me, the new Earth is here now. For somebody else, the new Earth might be here in 10 years. For somebody else, the new Earth might never be here. We're in an individuated reality bubble, and we're in a mixed classroom. Mixed classroom meaning we have some kindergartners here on Earth, and we have some PhD levels here on Earth. So the new Earth happens as and through you. I do think, though, if timelines go the way I'd like them to, we will be living from a different place. We will be living from a heart-centered place. I got a vision of what money looks like, in the sense that we'll still be working and we'll still be receiving an exchange form, but we'll be doing it in a way that's we'll be paid differently based on our frequency versus, I know, versus on our output or our hours of work. So imagine now, you get a salary of $5,000 a day for having a certain frequency. But if you start to go in are a different frequency, like maybe you're thinking dark thoughts or whatever it is, it starts to kind of chip away at that monies. So it would activate people to start to want to live from their hearts, to start to pour in frequency and love to everything they do. People, murderers would be like, where can I get a course from Brian Scott on how to raise my heart frequency? Like, help me do that. So I understand that the totality of what I call phase transition, right? In science, there's phase transition where it takes a while for the pot to boil. And we're in the time right now where you who are listening to this are helping the pot to boil. It's just not boiling yet. So we're in that phase transition time, but not yet. And I think New Earth looks very different. I think that we act very different. I don't think we race around from hither and dither and yon at top speed, over caffeinated. I think we're very present. I think we travel very differently. I think we learn to harness some crystal technologies, and I think that we start to go back more towards, if it kind of, for me, it looks like a hybrid of Lemurian and Atlantean times, but like the best of both worlds, if that makes any sense. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I know I'm talking to the right person.
You focus your work on empaths and highly sensitive people. Why are the most sensitive among us the most powerful creators? Many empaths carry gifts as a burden. So, how do you help those empaths? I'm sure that there's many of them. They're attracted to my channel, watching right now. What do you say to those empaths and those highly sensitive people?
It's such an interesting one, Brian, because the empaths and the sensitives, of which you and I both are, right?
Right.
We often have a harder road, and we often fall into addiction because we're so sensitive that we don't want to feel it all. Like, please, Lord, let me not feel it all, is the prayer I used to have. And so, I think that just recognizing why you're here at this time on planet Earth, and that you actually chose to be here, is a big part of it. And so, as a sensitive, as an intuitive, if you know that you're like this awesome technology that's here, and okay, the more I activate my awesome technology, the more I get to help the planet. And this whole life is temporary anyways. So might as well lay it all on the court right here, right now, right? Might as well like live full out and see what I can do with this technology of being super sensitive, being an empath. And then the practice is tuning in and commanding high frequencies. Because as a sensitive, as an intuitive, you can get caught up in tuning into lower frequencies, and you are going to have issues. It's going to be real hard for you. So then the practice becomes, how do you start your day, right? How do you start attuning to high frequencies? How do you, even coming down to furnishing your home, like the home I just got, the first thing I did before I even came here is I had the painters paint everything and put little crystal bits in the walls, right?
Mm.
And crystal grid the house and creating a frequency vortex. So it's like, as a sensitive and an intuitive and an empath, how do you start to vortex your own life so that you can be super sensitive and maintain a balanced nervous system? So here's the thing. Why is it such a struggle? Is because one of the things I work on all the time with my clients, Brian, most sensitives, intuitives cannot hold safety space in their own nervous system for what's going on. And so you kind of got to teach your body how to feel safe to feel it all, how to hold the polarity. Like this person could be having a meltdown, I can hold that. And teach your body inside how to feel safe. And that's a process. It does not happen overnight, but you can do it. And it's one of the things that I love teaching people how to do is create safety in their body, because some of the best psychics and healers are so sensitive, and they just have to be able to learn how to hold all of it, how to hold the dark and the light, and to know that ultimately it's why I wear this coin. Like, people think there's two sides to every coin, but there's not. There's three sides, right? There's the dark, the light, and then there's all of it. And so it's about teaching your body to realize that you are all of it and you can hold all of it, and it's safe to hold all of it.
So on my channel, the evolution of teaching and reality creation and manifestation that aligns with what you're talking about, as we've started to develop a sort of technology where we can connect to the future self, a particular future self, a particular book that we want to connect with, and then we can form almost an entanglement with that future self. So I'd love to get your perspective of that, of how we can connect in, because all of time's happening at the same time. If that's true, then we can connect to a particular version of ourselves and sort of let it pull us into that future, right?
Absolutely. I don't know if I could say it any better than that, Brian. I mean, that's exactly what we do in timeline jumping is we look at the future version of ourselves. And I think the important thing to note here is if you can think about it, it's already a possibility in your field, baby. That's it. It's already there. All you need to do is align with it, entangle with it, and be consistent with it. It's one of the reasons why I assign my clients homework of listening to your audios. I'm like, you got to do this every night. They're like, well, I can't sleep. I don't really care. Is your future self going to care if you lose a couple nights sleep? You're going to train yourself to sleep through this, truly. And so, that's the thing, is that the possibility that you can think of is already there. And so at the end of the day, you said it so beautifully. It's really just about entangling with that. And then I also think it's about getting that self concept so that I don't believe that I've argued a lot that we don't have free will here. And I don't think that we do, actually. However, I know. But when you jump, like an addict doesn't have free will to not do addiction stuff. Do you see what I'm saying? But now I jump my consciousness. I'm not an addict really anymore. I don't identify as one. I jump my consciousness. It's not a problem for me not to smoke cigarettes or use alcohol or use prescription drugs. It's not a problem. There's no amount of money you could pay me to do that. So I don't have free will to use drugs. I wouldn't do it. Do you see what I'm saying? So for me, it's also about having this self concept and really allowing yourself to emerge and act from that self concept of self. And for me, that happens in theta state, that happens at night as we go to sleep, that happens in the morning. It's the two things that I always have my clients do. Like at night, I just want to have you visualizing and thinking about and talking about this new version of yourself, because we have to reprogram the software, the hardware that's in here. And if we don't do it, we'll just have Groundhog's Day again and again and again.
So before we go, if you could send one download from the other side into every person listening, what would it be?
You are God in a body, and you can vibrate as God in a body. You are here as the second coming. Second coming is you, waking up to the fact that you are divine in physical form.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real honor. If people want to, the Divine DNA Repatterning we talked about, we can go to alysarushton.link,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
I'll make sure to put the exact links in the description once I have that, because that sounds really fascinating. It's been a real honor to speak with you. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, and welcome to the Reality Revolution.
Oh my gosh, Brian, thank you so much. And you guys pop me your comments below. I'm going to answer every single one. So
All
I
right.
want to hear from you. I love you guys. I love you, Brian, so much. Thank you for all the work that
Thank
you
you,
do.
thank you, thank you. Hey, welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm Brian Scott. Over the last year, I have had the honor of hosting some amazing live in-person events, something I never thought that I would do. And I have grown and changed so much in these experiences. The opportunity to meet so many of you, to shake your hand, to hug you, to hear your stories, to watch the way that you grow, to see your changes, to get to know you. So many of you have followed my channel. It's been such an exciting experience. So when we were thinking about our next event, we decided we wanted to do something a little different. So many of you have found me through my teachings on money, on large sums of money, on the affirmations that I use. And so we brainstormed and came together with an amazing event. Over 3 days, we've planned out some of the most incredible meditative techniques, exercises, and teachings that I have ever done. 9 immersive meditations, all designed to shift you into the reality where large sums of money come to you easily and quickly. There is nothing I want more than for you to experience absolute prosperity. I want you to live a life where you are free to do what you want when you want. I want you to be able to choose when you wake up, when you go to sleep. I want you to lead a business that empowers you, that fulfills you. I want you to live a life where you choose where you live. You live in your dream home. You travel the world. I want all of this for you, and it's available to you. I believe when we come together at these events, magic happens. And so I want to have the opportunity to become a catalyst for you, to join me for 3 days so that we can manifest the most incredible life for you, one that makes you incredibly prosperous, where you tune into infinite streams of money. You walk through storms of money all around you. You experience it in every way, shape, and form. Large sums of money are coming to you. Join me in Austin on September 18th through the 20th at the Hyatt Regency. You can find the link in the description at www.brianscottlive.com/Austin-2026.